Hi, I hope you've got a cup of coffee because we're going to get started. I am going to be working on a, a pizza box. I did sand it and I'm just taking the sharp edge off of this piece of paper. I want to make a different kind of a collage masterboard. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the other ones, but I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like the things I'm doing, this is just a scratch, well, it's not scratch, but it's a scrap of from another project, but it's not, boy, my words. It is not a piece of cardstock like scrapbook paper. It's more just like a regular weight of paper. So this has been sanded. Did I wipe it? I wonder. We found out last time that there's a lot sticking to these. Look, I think if you leave that layer of dust on, that can get between the glue and look again. Should I do it one more time? I think that can also keep it from wanting to stick. But I did sand it, and well, that's as good as it's going to get. I'm working on some wax paper, but with this master board, I want to get a different look. I just don't want everything to look the same. I didn't grab my glue book. Hang on. It's so close I can just not reach it. So I want to get a different look. Well, the way you get a different look is you do things differently. So I'm kind of combining the tried and true way that you see me do collage, and I'm going to add some twists. So that was a piece of book page. This is a piece of recipe page that's from a recipe book. Not really too concerned about the size of these because they're going to be partly covered up. I am not covering this whole thing in book page. No, I'm just getting some on there to get a start. But we're going to do something different. I'm also not going to wrap this around because my edges are not squared up yet, and so I definitely want to be able to trim it to make it more square. So I'm going to just let the pieces fall over the edge. I can trim it up later. So I'm just using an Uhu glue stick, and I'm just gluing these down on my pizza box. And this pizza box is about 12 by 12. And I am not thinking about rhyme nor reason as I put these on. And as master boards are usual, it is going to be cut up. So I'm not worried too much about too much of the same thing in one spot. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be cut. So, and you know, isn't that the fun of it? When you get to cut it and you get such a surprise. I think so. I think that's really, really fun. All right, so that's a couple of pieces of dictionary page. Here's another piece of recipe page. Like I said, we're going to get some of this on here, but not all. Not by a long shot. So how are you? I am still snowed in. This is my second video for the day. So if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But it is just a flurry right now, but we've had on and off snow quite a bit. I honestly think we've added maybe another 8 or 10 inches today so far. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now. So I'd say since midnight, yeah, easily we've added that much. I haven't even decided if I'm going to have this whole thing completely covered, but I think so, because I don't think the pizza box lends anything to the whole picture. So there's those two pieces. Apparently I got some of those crumbs from wiping this off on my hands, and I'm making a few dark fingerprints, but nothing to worry about. I'm going to stick this one all the way up in a corner. So get your glue sticks or whatever you like to use for gluing, your book page, your music note paper, whatever you got, and get a start. And as I say, that's going right off the edge there, so that's why I didn't worry about tearing those two bits. Here's another one that I can put, and yeah, these are bigger pieces, but again, that's okay. I do want to try to be sure to get glue over the entire piece, because I don't want pieces to want to raise up. Ooh, there's the straight line. Where can I put this? Oh, right here. Now I had a few little pieces, and I've got a little piece showing there. I see. I'm just gonna, this one's does have some straight lines, but that's okay. All right, little bit more. Let's get some music note paper. So where do I get all these papers? Thrift stores, primarily. And the other thing is Friends of the Library. And I am not ruining these things. Don't feel guilty about using these bits, because by the time they reach thrift stores or Friends of the Library, they're going to be thrown away if someone doesn't take them. And, you know, like this book, that's an economics book, but it's from the 90s. Well, you know, it's not going to be relevant. You know, things have changed in, what, 23 years, maybe 30 years. So you don't want to worry about wasting a book. You'll know when you see a book if it's something that really should be saved and treasured, or if it's just a plain old book, and if you don't take it, someone else will. Okay. All right. I'm going to get started with the next part. I recently did some magazine harvesting. I still have more neutrals, and I will use them. They can rest right under my coffee cup. So I decided there's sometimes pictures that I like, but I don't necessarily want them as a focal point. But could I use them in a collage like this? I think so. So if I like them and I like the colors and all that, and these I am not tearing, they're cut with the scissors and they're going to stay that way. But I'm just going to be adding these in. I am going to keep the orientation the same. I'm not going to put some upside down, some right side up, and some sideways. So the paper's going to have an up and a down. But that's okay with me. And I don't know about you, but I find glue stick is one of the best ways to put down magazine pictures. Magazine pictures are a little bit more fragile, so you don't want to treat them, roughly, but they also have a greater tendency to want to wrinkle, and that's why I say glue stick, I think, is one of the friendliest ways to put it down. I'm looking here. Am I in frame? I just wanted to be able to see because this is big, and so I had to be kind of careful. I don't want my glue book to rip my magazines either. So this is my third day of being snowed in. The city, I know, is doing a heroic job in keeping the streets as clean as they can. Same as my little neighborhood there. They've shoveled multiple times just in the past 24 hours. But it's still coming down. So, what can you do about that? So these are pictures that I got from, I think the magazine was Country Living. So they all kind of have that country theme. But other than that, that's about the only thing that's alike about them. I'm not worried about the colors. I'm not worried about, as I say, I would like them to be right side up when I cut it. So I am going to put them all right side up. What do you think? We've got only 4 pictures on there. But sometimes there's just pictures that I like, but it's not going to be a focal point. There's things that I can like, but they're not my aesthetic. They're not my style. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate them. And so I guess that's kind of how I'm feeling about the things I selected for here. It's not my aesthetic, but it will be when I'm done. I think it will be. I've never done a collage masterboard quite like this. Maybe you have. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how it came out, what you thought of it. Did you like it? Was it a disaster? Tell me the truth. A little missing of glue there. Alrighty. Okay, so around the edges, I'm still seeing. So I don't know if I really have a picture that, well, this one could lend itself to an edge. I don't think I want to cut that off completely. I think that will look fine. So what's going to be the challenge with this? What do you think? I would say cohesiveness. How are we going to make this look like it belongs together? How are we going to harmonize this? See, that's where I think we're going to have to put our thinking caps on. Look at these. Aren't they fun? All right, bowling pins. Yeah, over there. I think that will be fine. I'm just kind of thinking about where's the edge going to be that I'm going to probably cut off. Now, am I done with pictures? If I had a smaller one, let's see. I saved out like this one because I thought I could kind of save it for an area that might be a little bit more challenging. Let's see if I can just kind of tear this down. The other side is cool too. The other side is old hotel tags, but I think I wouldn't mind this just like that. Okay. Are there any magazines that you subscribe to? You know, you can get certain magazines for free. If you just Google it, free magazines, and you'll see. Sometimes you'll just get like a sample of a couple of them. Maybe they're back issues, but they're magazines all the same. And sometimes your cities or your library. Now, I buy magazines from the library because they charge a dime. All right, so I've got a little space here. Do I want to maybe take some of these? I could. A lot of words. Only got one hotel key. I don't know if I like that better because it's so close to this one. Does that matter? Probably not. I think I'm going with this side. Be flexible. I see so many people on YouTube, and I'm not making a, like, this isn't a criticism, but they talk about they're so concerned about overthinking it. I don't see them just ruminating over things, trying to, and I've told them in the comments, I think you're working at a good pace. I mean, you have to put some thought. You can't just close your eyes. I suppose you can. I wouldn't be confident with the results of that type of a thing. Now, I've got this little basket. It looks like one of those Longer Burgers. As a matter of fact, I think it's the building. You know, Longer Burgers. I'm probably saying it wrong, but that basket company, they're building. I think the company, if they may still have baskets somewhere, but I think the company's kind of gone. But it was in Ohio. It wasn't far from where I had family living, and it was the whole big office building was in the shape of a basket. And I think that's what that is. Okay, I think I can put that right there. If you know the name of those baskets, let me know in the comments, because I just have a feeling I'm saying it wrong. Okay. A little something, see, right here and right there. Well, can I get some hotel keys without just cutting them all off? You'd think I could. All right. I think that looks great. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. I've been fascinated watching some YouTube videos on these people in Japan, and they take these ferries, and it's like they're going from city to city, and it seems like a lot of them are overnight. Some of them have restaurants. I mean, some of them are really quite fancy. Some of them are a little more basic, and one of them that I saw recently, it really didn't look much different than a ship that you'd expect, sailors to be working on. It was pretty rustic. I've got this piece right here that I'm looking at covering up, and then I think we're all covered up. So yeah, I've been watching them. They have all text that you read as it goes along as far as what's all going on, but it is fascinating. Okay, if there's any pizza hanging out, I don't see it. So let's get this out of our way and cover up the glue. And here comes part 2. Now this is, in my opinion, very colorful, very bright, and really on the verge of being confusing. So what am I going to do about that? Well, I'm going to show you. First, I'm going to start out with some clear gesso. And I'm just going to pick out, and here's my clear gesso. Yes, it's big. Give it a good shake. It's a liquid. Now, the professional clear gesso from Liquitex does leave a matte finish and has just a little bit of tooth. So, but I don't mind it. Now, where I see, oh, I don't need to unscrew the lid. I'll get way too much. Where I see a little picture that I like, and I'm going to get an acrylic brush like this one. This one's got these stray hairs, and every time I use it, I tell myself, before you put it away, cut those off. Do I ever? Now I cut it off. All right, so for instance, I like this horsey guy. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops or so. If the clear gesso goes further, it doesn't matter. And I've got enough here that I'm going to put some over these cows. I eventually want this whole thing covered in gesso. Some clear, some white. So, but I just want to hit a couple of these pictures that I think are just extra sweet and hit them with some of the clear. Just like that. Okay. Some of the gasoline signs, why not? Fun to look at. I don't want them hanging in my living room. But they are fun. Got a little something there. All right. I didn't do the flowers. I guess I could. Again, I can do step 2. And if I feel like I went overboard with all this, I can still decide that I'm not going to have that picture be quite so front and center. All right. I think I got all the pictures. So I'm just going to go ahead and just empty my brush. Little coming up here. See that? Gesso, it's not as strong as like a gel medium, but it will help tack things down. All right, now I'm going to just clean up my white bottle here, or my clear. Put some of that there. Now with the white. Not going to use a brush. Going to put the brush in the water. White gesso. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go, let's get this off. It seems like every time I try to get that off, it just kind of crumbles like dust. Well, there is supposedly, I believe, marble, ground marble in this. All right, I'm taking my finger and I'm going around pictures and seams where things are crisscrossing each other. Now the gesso, white gesso, will dry more clear than what you see right now. But I'm just gonna blend in And now see this horsey? I can make it a little smaller if I want. Same with the hotel keys. And I don't want a super thick coat on it. But I do want to just kind of blend and blur all this around. Is it kind of slipping and sliding? I see that. Where am I? I'm where I need to be, I think. If I set this up right. I like to use my finger because I don't want any kind of a straight line of the gesso. I really want it to be almost random, but not really. Now I'm going to just kind of go around some of the book page as well. I'm not worried about these stairs. It was their suitcases, which I ended up putting a basket over part of, which is fine. There's just some of those old-fashioned suitcases. You know, people buy them looking old now. They're really new, but they look old, and they're strictly for decorating purposes. That's what that is. How we doing? Oh, got a blob there. That's fine. I'm almost traumatized by that one art journal I have. Those of you who've been with me for a while, Flowers for a Friend. I see these flowers and I tell you, I kind of got away from using magazine flowers and stuff. I just didn't appreciate the art of that book. And I know someone worked hard. I almost hate it that I feel that way, but all brown flowers. I feel like I'm doing the whole book a favor by working that. Now, it may seem like I've got a lot of these gas station signs, and I do, but again, it's going to be cut up. So I just don't think it's going to be a big issue. I'm almost kind of massaging it in. I don't want to cover up the horse a whole lot more. All right, how am I doing? Do you see any obvious places that I really didn't get enough of this whitewash on? I think I'm gonna now put just a little bit like on top of this book page. It's the dictionary page. Some of these are bubbling up and raising up. The magazine ones, don't worry about it. When they dry, 9 times out of 10, they go back. So it's nothing to worry about. Now this is where you can have an advantage of the angle than what I have. These are the kinds of things I do, and then when I get into editing, I'm like, oh, you missed here, or why didn't you put that there, or you needed more blue, not red. You know, I think of those things once I get going. Now again, I do want everything covered in gesso, be it white or clear. So what I'm going to do, and the white gesso, I wouldn't say it's still wet, but it's definitely tacky. Now, I was using my fingers, so forgive me while I grab a baby wipe. I don't want everything that I own covered in gesso. Might be an improvement. You never know. I don't know if you remember, but it was either the last video or the video before. I told you I was going to make chili. Well, I did, and it was delicious. So I'm going to have that again today for my supper, the leftovers. And then I'll catch up with some of my favorite YouTube people. I like Carrie the Crafter. I like, I think it's, I know Crafty Karen. Coffee, is it Coffee with Rona? I don't know, something like that. I really like her. And they all do different things. But there we go. Okay, that's better. And that also gave this just another minute to dry. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush that I put in the water that was from the clear gesso, and I'm going to give it a good dry because I really would, I don't want it to be all watery. All right, so here's my clear gesso. I'm going to give it a shake. Now, some of this white may move around. That's quite all right. But I do want to get a coating of clear gesso over the whole thing. Now, we are using book page, music note paper, magazine paper. All these things are copywritten. You know that. Now, you can use them as they are and sell them, and 9 times out of 10, you're fine. No one's going to tell you cease and desist. I would not put this on a scanner and start selling it as a digital. I don't own these photographs. I don't own the books that, you know, I didn't write them. So you do have to be careful when it comes to that kind of thing. Now there's a little bit of a white film. I don't know if I'm moving the gesso around. I might be. But also the clear gesso does have a little bit of a milkiness, but dries clear. So, but if the whole thing is milky like this, it's fine with me. I just want to make sure I have gesso over everything. And I'm feeling pretty confident that I do. Okay, this is just step 1. This needs to dry and dry thoroughly. Let me know what you think of it so far in the comments. I'm liking it. I think it looks great. Please consider hitting a thumbs up if you like this. Consider sharing it with your friends and subscribe. It helps me so much. I'll see you and we'll work on this some more. Bye.